Hey guys, so you're going to see this at the beginning of the video. I'm actually shooting it at the end of the video because I just shot this whole long video and forgot to tell you one of the biggest important things that I was supposed to cover in this video. So the day that you see this is April 5th, Wednesday, April 5th, and it is the launch of our brand new line of merch. We actually haven't had merch available for months. We work with a small business out of Arkansas called Be Unlimited to offer our merch to you. We've decided that working with this business versus a drop ship business that drops upon orders, we're able to just offer a much more consistent product, and that is very important to us, to be able to use more ethically sourced materials, as well as making sure that you have the customer service that you need. And today we're launching our new pre-orders for merch. So you place your order and it ships whenever the pre-order closes. They'll start printing them and shipping them. And we are offering some of our old faithful designs like Real Food Comes Dirty, as well as Store-Bought Tomatoes Taste Like Disappointment. Those are two of our best-selling designs that you guys have requested to see again in the shop. We also have a couple of new designs in this launch, one of which is a shirt that I mentioned in a video a few days ago, which says "Eat Real Food." Now, I shared a video the other day. The reason why I had become so introspective on the topic of the terminology of real food, and why I decided to share this rant video about why it is very important to me to call real food what it is, was because I knew we had this shirt coming out. This has been in the works for months, and I started to get this kind of contesting on the terminology of real food. So I shot the video. The shirt is being released today, and it is available in this pre-order. We have another pre-order just with the diagram of different fruits and veggies, beautiful things from the garden, things I love to grow. And then lastly, a new design, which is really simple. I feel like I like a simple t-shirt. This is probably the one I'll wear the absolute most. It's just a pocket tee. It has a sunflower and it says Roots and Refuge Farm. I love a good simple t-shirt, and that's what I like to wear with some cut-off jean shorts, my sandals. That's summer for me. So these are available right now. I'll put a link down below. As always, thank you so much for making these purchases. They support us more than you could possibly even understand. We are so thankful for your support in this way. Now let's watch the video talking about all the resources we have made available to you guys. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this, but of course I did. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Roots and Refuge Farm. If this happens to be the first of my videos you ever stumble upon, I'm really glad you're here. This is not the usual content. I'm actually making this video because there are a lot of people here who are new to us, or who have maybe been following and subscribed for a long time but have missed out on some more recent videos. And that's pretty normal for this time of year as we step into the gardening season. YouTube has a tendency to kind of push my videos out to a lot of new people. And I am not complaining. I'm so excited for all of you guys to be here. So if you are new, my name is Jessica Sowards. My friends call me Jess. I hope you will too. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you've been here with me along the journey, I am also just so immensely glad that you're here. It's funny because I actually make content with the idea in my mind that I'm talking to a friend. And when I get to go to conferences and meetings and meet you guys face to face, that's what it feels like. It feels like meeting people that I have known for a very long time. It's very precious to me, and I forget sometimes that some of you are just stumbling upon us. I'm just a stranger that you found on YouTube. And today I wanted to make a video that's a little bit of an introduction for those of you who are new, because we do have a lot of new people around here. Kind of let you know what's going on with us, what you can expect from us, and also some resources that are available to you, many of which don't cost you anything at all, and I want to make sure that you know about them. I'll mention sometimes about like having a book, and I'll get 15 comments of people saying, wait a second, you wrote a book? I wrote 2 books. I want you to know about them. So, as I said, my name is Jessica Sowards. My husband Jeremiah and I are homesteading here on 27 acres in the Midlands of South Carolina. We moved to South Carolina about 1.5 years ago. It's been just at 2 years since we first started working on this property. We moved from 4 acres in Arkansas to this piece of property, 720-mile move, which was a pretty big undertaking. And now it's crazy that we've been here for almost 2 years. For those of you who have been here for the journey, isn't that completely wild? We are very, very passionate about growing food. I do a very large garden. We keep dairy cows, Jerseys. We have Devon beef cattle. We raise fowl, pastured poultry. We do pigs. And overall, our hope is to just share our homesteading journey. We've been on this path for about 10 years now, and I still feel like we learn new things all the time. I never want to present myself as an expert. I do not feel like an expert at all, but I do realize that when we share our experiences with other people, there's great value to that. So we've been doing YouTube videos very consistently since 2018. Prior to that, I had done a handful of videos over the course of a couple of years. And the journey has been very much one that we felt led to do. Came to me once while I was praying on my back porch. We were at a place where we were facing bankruptcy, and honestly I felt completely hopeless, and I just had that kind of still small voice feeling of like, hey, do this thing, do this thing, and it's gonna fund this dream. And it genuinely has. Now, we do come from very humble beginnings. We shared some stories over the course of our time here on social media about what it was like for us before. And at this point, I can tell you the gratitude has never left me. I still feel absolutely awestruck on a regular basis that I actually get to do this. That I actually get to have a beautiful garden and a beautiful farm. And I am so massively thankful to our friends here on YouTube and the people who've gotten behind us to make that possible. And for me, I feel like what we have here is an opportunity to take the incredible blessing on our life and kind of allow that to overflow on other people. So as of right now, it's April of 2023. We're currently working on a big undertaking in the downtown of the small city that we live next to. It's not even a city, it's a town. It's called Batesburg, Leesville, South Carolina, in the Midlands of South Carolina. And we have, with our business partners, Murray McMurray Hatchery, bought some buildings down there. We're currently working on opening a coffee roastery, a homesteading supply store called the Carolina Homestead Exchange. Down the road, there's going to be a coffee house. We are currently working on the early stages of trying to get a farmer's market open. We would really love to see that open this year. For all of those details, you can sign up for the email list at Carolina Homestead Exchange. My hope there is to really unite a community, make a place that people can come and visit, get inspired, get poured into, learn, find the resources that they need for the local community, but also I'm hoping that we can find ways to share that with the community at large. That is an expression of the fact that I feel so thankful. I mean, you guys have made opportunities like that possible for us, and I could get really emotional talking about it, actually. It's just such a blessing. So if you want to be on the email list for that, that's something that is available right now. I'm going to link all of this stuff in the show notes. If you're watching on your TV, you'll have to get out your phone or your laptop, but underneath the video there will be a link that says show more, and all of this will be available there. There's going to be a lot of links in this video. That's the first thing, Carolina Homestead Exchange. We're working on our website right now. We're going to start doing some shipping of different tools, like our favorite tools that you can buy through that website. One of the things that we're hoping to do is offer useful products at good prices for people all over. There are things that I use, and up until this point, the only way that I've been able to tell you about them, when you see me using hand tools and baskets and different things, and you're like, hey, what's up with that? Can I get one of those? The only thing I've been able to do is send you to Amazon, and we are working on being able to actually sell those things to you directly, which is a huge help to us, and I hope will be a help to you. The vision for the Carolina Homestead Exchange is that that building is going to have a classroom in it. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is to equip people in how to learn basic and forgotten skills. So many things I feel have fallen to the wayside. I think they say that a mother's native tongue gets lost in one generation. Like if a person moves to a new place, their language that they speak gets lost in just one generation. Often grandchildren do not speak the same language of their grandparents. And I feel like we're kind of in that place as far as a society that has forgotten how to do the things that we need to know how to do. How to process food and preserve things, how to grow things, how to make cheese and can and all those different things. And I want to be able to reconnect people with that language. I want to be able to teach people this stuff that got lost in a generation, because I think it's incredibly important. So another resource that we are currently offering here through Roots and Refuge Farm is we have a podcast. So obviously we have all these YouTube videos. You're watching this on YouTube. But we decided to launch off into the podcasting sphere this year. The hope for that was that we could have sort of more laid back conversation. One of the difficulties in YouTube is, like, for instance, I'm going to shoot this video, I'm going to sit in this exact same spot the entire time because the sun's setting, my entire farm is super bright, and instead of fooling with trying to find good light and good focus, I'm just going to sit here and deliver the information. That doesn't always work. Actually, there are probably a lot of people who have already clicked off of this video because it wasn't grabbing enough. And I wanted to create podcasts so we could sit down and have hour-long conversations about things that I think are, one, important, and two, very bolstering to the listener. So the podcast is something where we're talking about skills, we're talking about family, we're talking about faith. I hope to share inspiration with you because while I love to teach you, I feel like people who are inspired will always find the education they need to do what they want to do. But whereas there are a lot of people who are educated who are not using their education because they have no motivation and inspiration. So our podcast is something that we created to inspire you. I'll put a link down below to our website where you can find those podcasts, but you can also look up the Roots and Refuge podcast on any main platform like Apple or Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'm pretty sure it's on Google Podcasts. We had a little technical difficulties getting it all together and out there. But the podcast has been a project that has turned out to be very near and dear to my heart. I didn't realize it was going to be as important to me as it has been. And the feedback that I've gotten has been really, really precious. So that's available to you. It's content that's out there for free that you might not have realized. There are new episodes every single Wednesday. And I'm actually we're working on getting some backlogged episodes. So some YouTube videos that were sit and deliver information, either teaching or inspirational. We're actually going to be putting those up on the podcast so you guys can access those in a format that may be more convenient for you. So on top of the podcast, we have Patreon. This is something that is also new. We launched it at the same time as the podcast. The Patreon was a long time coming. We never launched something like that before because frankly, we didn't really need anything. Like, Jeremiah and I are pretty simple people. We, neither one of us is like got super extravagant lifestyle goals. I mean, I feel like I'm living high on the hog right now because I have a 40,000 square foot garden. But we decided to launch the Patreon this year because we were doing these community outreaches, because we did have some big visions to be able to reach people and provide resources for people that frankly were a little beyond us. So we launched Patreon where we do one live Q&A a month. We do some extra additional content on there, some interaction with different people, and you get the podcast a week early on Patreon. So there's an extra week available to you if you have Patreon. So I'll put a link to that down below. One of the things that we were really passionate about with Patreon is that we didn't want to do a lot of different tiers where it was like, if you spend more money, you get more resources, because we realized that for a lot of people in this economy that $3 a month is actually a really big sacrifice. So we have multiple tiers where you can do $3 or $10 or whatever, but you all get the same thing. You can decide for yourself what you're comfortable with giving to help support us, but we give the same resources to the $3 contribution as we do to the $50 contribution. And that's because we just recognize the fact, because we remember what it was like, that $3 a month was genuinely a sacrifice. One thing that's actually available through the Patreon is a coupon for things like our merch that comes out. So if you're planning on buying merch anyway, you'll actually probably save money doing Patreon as it turns out. So yeah, that's available. We so appreciate our patrons. And because of our patrons, I can actually transition into the next thing. So we actually also have a blog, rootsandrefuge.com. Another thing that is relatively new, we launched it a little over a year ago. We actually work with a couple named Jason and Kelsey. They have a business called Small Town Design, and they have helped us massively. So, confession, I'm a gardener. I've actually tried to change my language. For a long time I've said I'm a gardener, not a businesswoman. And I want to take on the mantle of being a businesswoman. I feel like this is the position that I have been placed in. This is the calling that I have carried out and taken up. And I want to do that with grace and integrity. And I don't want to call myself not a businesswoman because I feel like I'm disqualifying myself. Technology is not my strong suit. Management and administration is not my strong suit. I am a head in the clouds romantic gardener. I'm a poet. I like being able to do that. And because we found this couple that helps us with our website, I've been able to. So they have helped me make a blog. And all I have to do is sit down and write and send it to them. And they handle all of that technology stuff in the back end to make sure that it looks really nice on a website. It's been such a massive blessing. And because of Patreon, we have actually been able to hire Jeremiah's sister. She's worked for us part-time for a while now, shipping our stickers and stuff like that. But we've actually been able to hire her full-time. She's starting next week full-time, which is a really big deal. And she is actually going to be helping me cook through a lot of my recipes, which I have been painstakingly writing down, even though I will tell you guys, I don't really cook from recipes. So writing this down has been a big deal. So she's helping me cook through these, double check them so that we can then send them to Jason and Kelsey and get them put up on the website for you. This is something we're currently working on because a lot of you have been asking me for my recipes. I really want to share them with you, but I am at capacity, and I've recognized that for a while. I've had the desire to share for a while, but I've kind of felt like my hands were tied because, you know, there's only so much time in the day. I've got a lot of kids. I have a lot of things I have to do. And because of the generosity of people on Patreon, because of being able to pay people like Kelsey, because of being able to pay people like Michaela, Jeremiah's sister, I'm going to be able to offer you more. So that's really awesome. I'm really excited about that. So be on the lookout. More recipes are coming to the website. Our website is rootsandrefuge.com. We have a lot of blog posts. A lot of information is available there to you for free. Different tutorials, different things that I may have covered in videos in the past, but we've converted it. So you can go onto rootsandrefuge.com and actually type in the search bar what you're looking for. So for instance, if you remember, I remember Jess talking once about basil tea, and that sounded really good. And I'd like to know that. Instead of going back and clicking on 10 different videos and trying to find it, you can actually just go to rootsandrefuge.com and type in basil tea in the search bar. It's going to pull it right up. You're going to have the recipe, you're going to have the instructions, and you don't have to spend a lot of time looking for it. So I'm so excited that that is available for you guys. Another thing, if you are not already signed up for our mailing list, now we have the Carolina Homestead Exchange mailing list that I mentioned earlier. You can sign up for that one too, where you're going to get notifications about our business. But for rootsandrefuge.com, we also have a mailing list. You'll only get 2 emails a week. I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of stuff. I hate signing up for a mailing list and then getting, who the heck sends 3 emails a day trying to sell you something? I'm like, my goodness, could you stop? It drives me crazy. I will unsubscribe so fast. I want to respect you guys and the fact that you trust me with your information. You get 2 emails a week. On Wednesday, you're going to get a notification of the podcast for the week, kind of a little clip talking about that. There will be notifications of merch that's available or different sales that are available. And then on Saturday, you're going to get a notification for what I call my lovely words posts. In the spring of last year, I was honestly feeling a little suffocated because this sphere of homesteading has gotten really populated, which I am so thankful for. I feel so much celebration that there are so many people sharing the knowledge of homesteading. Whereas I look back 10 years ago and you told people you wanted a homestead and they looked at you like, you want to move into the wilderness and churn your own butter? Like, what? They didn't understand it at all. But now it's becoming so popular, which I'm thankful for. But I frankly felt a little lost in the noise of that. And I was talking to Jason and Kelsey one day. We were kind of catching up on what we were doing moving forward in media because they're sending out all of my stuff. And, I'm sending them blog posts and all that stuff. And I told them, I don't want to lose myself in this. I don't ever want to get caught in the corner of trying to make content simply because it's what people want. I want to share who I actually am. And they were so supportive of me. And I just cannot tell you how precious it is whenever you trust God to put the right people in your life. It really is amazing. I decided then that it was time to really start sharing my writing. I've been a writer for a very long time. For a long time, it was a very private thing for me. It was something that I never shared with anybody. But since that conversation that day, we have started sharing different essays and poems that I've written. And in your email list on Saturday, that's what comes through. Usually a preview to a Lovely Words post, which is going to be an essay or maybe a letter to you. I call them Hello Darling letters, where I write to you, my viewer. Maybe a poem that I've written. A lot of times those poems come directly out of my prayer journal. And I've decided to start sharing that because in a world full of noise, what I desperately want to be is a sound, a song, a poem. And I want to share the passion of my heart with you because I think passion ignites passion. And more than anything, if I could do anything for you, it would be to ignite the passion in your heart. And so that's what that is. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, please do. That's something that's just a resource for you. You're going to get recipes along with that. You're going to get the podcast and the Lovely Words, and usually there's a little addendum to the bottom of the email talking about other relevant posts for the week. And it's going to be like during the middle of tomato season, here's a recipe for tomatoes. That sort of thing. I really just want to help you. That's a way I can do it. It's also a way I can stay directly connected with my viewers without being dependent on a platform like YouTube, which is awesome. But I like being directly connected without being dependent on something else. Now, obviously, we're here on YouTube and we're doing videos here throughout the week. This time of year, I produce a lot of content because there's a lot of wonderful things to share. If you're not already aware, Jeremiah has just launched his new YouTube channel. It's called Maya's Workshop, and he has made a commitment to post one video a week at least. I think he's going to end up doing more because praise just does a lot for us. So you guys have been so supportive. I think he's going to realize how valuable and bolstering it is to share. Maybe he might step into vlogging. I'm really kind of hoping that he might do that. But he is committed to making one video a week sharing the projects he's building here on the farm. Jeremiah has a ton of wisdom to share. He is genuinely one of the most wise people that I've ever met in my life. His cleverness in building things and coming up with solutions to problems is truly inspiring. And sometimes he does things and I'm like, you should tell people that. And he looks and he's like, isn't it obvious? And I'm like, no, that was not obvious. Because I don't ever see what he calls obvious. I don't ever see it. So I'm so excited that he's making videos. If you're not already subscribed, Maya's Workshop is his new channel. And he's already got a handful of videos up. He's working on more. And that's a really great place for you to find tutorials and inspiration on how to build things. And maybe learning some things from a man who thinks inventive ingenuity should be obvious to us all. If you have Facebook, we have a Facebook group. It's called Friends of Roots and Refuge Farm. Obviously, free to join. Facebook groups are. If you go on, you should send in a request. We do have a couple of questions that you have to answer. They're super basic. It's not a quiz or anything. We're just trying to keep trolls out. I have a group of admins, moderators, that have been volunteering to moderate this Facebook group for the last few years. I think, yeah, it's been like at least 3 years that this group of people has been committed. And behind the scenes of this Facebook group, which I think the Facebook group has like 50,000 people in it, this is a really good resource for information and community. But we have this group of moderators that are genuinely very close friends, knit together through this group. We started the Facebook group, I think in like 2018 or 19. Basically, when our channel started to grow, we were getting tons of emails, sometimes hundreds a day, asking questions that I so desperately wanted to be able to answer, but it came down to, am I going to answer these emails or am I going to feed my kids dinner? So I thought, what can I do to service this community and answer these questions? Many of which were just very basic gardening questions. And so we started the Facebook group. I had no clue then what it was going to turn into, but the Friends of Roots and Refuge Facebook group is an incredible resource to connect with other people who are growing food, gardening, homesteading, or just trying to live a simpler life. I have watched people become very dear friends on there, to connect, to have their questions answered, to find support, to find local resources. It truly is amazing. And I'll put a link to that Facebook group down below. It's definitely definitely worth your time. We do our best to try to keep the peace in there and keep it a positive and uplifting space. You know, sometimes you get in Facebook groups and you're like scared to post anything because people are going to tear you to shreds. And we really try to keep this an uplifting space. And I'm so thankful for my moderator group. I mean, these people are my genuine friends. I think it spills over. That Facebook group is one of the most positive online experiences I have had. And I watch people come on and share their personal life struggles and ask for, you know, encouragement and prayers from people, and ask for advice for different things, and share their triumphs and their successes. It really is special. So that's a resource that's available that I hope that you'll tap into, because gardening can be overwhelming. Homesteading can be overwhelming. Life can be overwhelming. And having people that you can reach out to, when frankly a lot of times we don't have people we can reach out to. We don't have people that understand when we harvest our first ripe tomato how absolutely overwhelmed we are with joy. And it's nice to be able to go on and share it. So, oh, the last thing, I mentioned this earlier. I've written a couple of books. That is one thing that is so funny to me when I mention, I'll say something about my book and people are like, wait a second, you wrote a book? I've actually written 2 books. They're available anywhere that books are sold. We're about to launch them on the Carolina Homestead Exchange's website. That's like on the precipice of happening. So you can get them at your local library. If they're not available, you can actually request libraries to carry them. They're available wherever books are sold. And if you want to hold out to buy it through Carolina Homestead Exchange, that would be awesome. My first book is called The First Time Gardener Growing Vegetables by Jessica Sowards. That's me. That was a book that I wrote for literally first-time gardeners. Now, there's a lot of tips and tricks in it that I think would be valuable to anybody who's gardening. But for the most part, I really do try to break it down for a person who's new to gardening, because I find that in gardening content, a lot of times things are assumed that people would know. And over my years of gardening, you know, I've invited people into my garden, and I can't tell you how many people have come in and been like, wow, I didn't know tomato plants had flowers on them. And things that, if you are an experienced gardener, you assume people know. But if you're trying to teach a person, you cannot assume they know anything. Because, you know, we don't want to make people feel stupid for the things that they don't know. Why would they know those things? Nobody teaches children these things in our culture. So the First Time Gardener Growing Vegetables has a lot of information from planting, seed starting, harvesting, maintaining, pest control, all of that stuff. And then the second book I wrote is called The First Time Homesteader, and it talks about a lot of different factors of homesteading, really for people who are in that dreaming, planning, jumping off stage, things about what to look for in land, gardening, the kitchen, animals, dairy, all of those different things. And I mean, it's kind of a brief overview of all those things, but I do feel like it is jam-packed with information and hopefully inspiration for the people who are starting. I am hoping to write more books in the future. I get asked that a lot. I would love to publish a poetry book at one point. I am currently working loosely on a devotional series. That's something that I would really love to be able to share with you guys. And yes, a cookbook. I get asked for a cookbook all the time. We're going to start with putting the recipes on the website, just giving them to everybody and seeing how that goes. I don't know why a cookbook just feels massively overwhelming to me, which is crazy because I cook more than anything else. But I really love being able to share these things with you. And all of these resources, I just wanted to sit down and let you know, because a lot of you are just finding us. I get choked up and emotional every time I say this. I genuinely feel such a massive gratitude every single day. Every single day, I thank God for you. Every single day, I thank God for the opportunity to get to do this. I mean that. Like, it's dumbfounding to me that I get to live my dream life. All I ever wanted was a farm. I was never even brave enough to dream of the farm that I currently have. It is so infinitely more than I ever even asked or imagined. And then on top of that, I get to sow the seeds of this love and passion in other people and watch it bloom. It's amazing. So upcoming events, I'll be at Baker Creek this coming up weekend, April 9th and 10th. I'll be speaking both days with Rory Feek, who is someone I admire so greatly. I'm incredibly honored to get to sit next to him and present our Hearts for Homesteading with you. Beyond that, I will be at Rory Feek's farm at the beginning of June for the Homesteading Festival there with our partners Murray McMurray Hatchery, representing the Carolina Homestead Exchange, and speaking there about homesteading as far as I know, that's the only thing that's nailed down on the calendar. I have a couple of other things potentially in the works. We're hoping to grand open the Carolina Homestead Exchange with a big event next spring, but we are trying to work out the potential of doing a farmer's market weekly this summer. So get on that email list to find out details about that. I think that's all the news. I'll probably think of something after the fact that I'm like, oh, Jess, that was obvious, but I told you, this isn't my strong suit. I just love to garden, okay? Thank you so much for everything that you do to support us. Thank you for hanging out with me today and all the days that you do. I bless you. Until next time.